Welcome to The Explainer. We're here to take on those tricky tech topics and break them down into something you can really wrap your head around. So, in this explainer, we are going to build your VLAN knowledge right from square one. We'll start with the basics, what they are and why you'd even want them. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how they actually work. And we'll wrap up with the really important stuff, the common, costly mistakes you absolutely want to avoid, and the best practices that'll make your network solid. All right, let's just dive right in. First up, we're tackling the big question. What in the world is a VLAN anyway? Okay, picture this, and maybe this sounds familiar. Is your home network just one big, crowded room? You know, where your work laptop, your smart TV, your gaming console, and all your guests' phones are all trying to shout over each other? That's what we call a flat network. Every single device can see and talk to every other device. And honestly, it's not just messy, it's a huge problem. It's inefficient, and it's a major security headache. Think about it. There's literally nothing stopping your smart fridge from trying to chat with your secure work laptop. Not right. And that's where the VLAN comes in. It's such an elegant solution to all that chaos. The best way to think about it is like you're building virtual walls inside your network switch. So instead of having to go out and buy a bunch of different physical switches, one for your work stuff, one for your smart home gadgets, one for guests, you can just use software to chop up one single switch into multiple, totally independent virtual networks. And this right here really nails the core idea. On the left, you've got that one big open room we talked about. It's a single broadcast domain. All the traffic is just mixed together in one big mess. It's noisy, it's insecure. But then look at the right. By using VLANs on that exact same physical switch, you've now created multiple private, separate rooms. All the traffic is isolated, and that instantly boosts your security and your network's performance. It's a game changer. Okay, so we've covered the what. Now let's get into the how. How does this all actually work? We're about to look at the mechanics, the real secret sauce that makes this whole virtual separation thing possible. Really, it all boils down to understanding two different kinds of ports. First, you've got the access port. This is the simple one. It's for your end devices, your PC, your printer, you name it. An access port belongs to one and only one VLAN. That's it. Then you have the trunk port. Think of this as the superhighway connecting your network gear, like linking one switch to another. Its job is to carry the traffic from multiple VLANs all at the same time. And it does this by adding a special little identifier, a tag, to every packet of data so it knows where it's supposed to go. So let's follow the data for a second, because this is where it all clicks. Imagine your PC is on VLAN 10. It sends some data to an access port on switch A. As soon as it hits the switch, bam, the switch internally slaps a VLAN 10 tag on it. Then, it shoots that tag data across the trunk link over to switch B. Switch B sees the tag and it knows, aha, this belongs to VLAN 10. Then, and this is the cool part, right before it sends the data out the final access port to the destination PC, it strips that tag off. The two PCs at either end have absolutely no idea any of this VLAN magic was happening behind the scenes. It's completely transparent to them. Okay, now that we've got the mechanics down, let's talk about the different kinds of VLANs you'll probably end up using. This is how you'll actually organize your network and make sure every device gets put in its proper room. This table is a super handy guide. Think of the default VLAN as the main lobby of a building. It's where every switch port starts out by default. Then you've got your data VLANs. That's for your normal user traffic, like laptops and printers. The voice VLAN? That's like a dedicated hotline, giving your IP phones their own special lane to make sure your calls are crystal clear. The management VLAN is your super secure IT control room, the only way to access and configure your network gear. And finally, the native VLAN. Think of it like a temporary visitor pass for any traffic that happens to show up on a trunk link without a tag. We'll talk more about why that's important in a bit. All right, pay close attention to this next section, especially if you're a home labber or you manage a network. We're going to talk about the most common and costly mistakes. These are the kinds of easy-to-make errors that can totally wreck your network security and performance if you're not careful. Mistake number one is a huge one, and that's using the default VLAN, usually VLAN 1 or your native VLAN for your actual user devices. Here's why that's bad. Any untagged traffic that hits a trunk port automatically gets dumped into this VLAN. So if that's where your devices are, it's basically like leaving a side door wide open. It gives attackers a perfect opportunity to try and hop from that less secure network into your other, more important VLANs. Next up, mistake number two. This is such a classic configuration screw-up. It's when you have a native VLAN mismatch. So let's say on one switch, the native VLAN is set to 10, but on the switch at the other end of the trunk cable, it's set to 20. Well, now your untagged traffic can actually bleed between those two different networks. It's like having mislabeled plumbing that sends water to the wrong room, completely breaking the isolation you worked so hard to set up. And this brings us to mistake number 3, not setting up a dedicated management VLAN. Seriously, this thing is your lifeline. If you accidentally mess up a firewall rule or some other setting and lock yourself out of your own network gear, this separate secure VLAN is your emergency key. It's how you get back in and fix what you broke. Don't skip this. Mistake number 4 sounds almost too simple, but it is so critical. Incorrect port assignments. You have to double check. Is this port for a single device, meaning it should be access, or is it connecting to another switch, meaning it should be trunk? Because if you get this wrong, best case scenario, things just don't work. Worst case scenario, you accidentally expose all of your VLANs to a single end device. That is a massive, gaping security hole. And for our final mistake, please don't ruin all your hard work by plugging in a cheap, unmanaged switch. These things have no idea what VLAN tags are, so their behavior is just pure chaos. Seriously, look at this list. It might drop all your tagged traffic. It might drop all your traffic. It might let things through but change the tag to the wrong VLAN. You just don't know. It will cause you endless headaches. I guarantee it. Okay, so we've covered what not to do. Now let's flip it around and lock in the best practices. This is how you make your VLAN setup not just work, but be truly robust and secure. You know, security is probably one of the main reasons we even bother with VLANs. But you have to remember, they aren't a silver bullet. They're not foolproof. There's an attack called VLAN hopping, and it's designed specifically to exploit common misconfigurations, letting an attacker bypass those virtual walls you built and jump between your supposedly isolated networks. So here it is. This is your actionable checklist. Think of this as your go-to plan for a really secure setup. A couple of these are so crucial they're worth saying again. Do move all your ports off the default VLAN 1. It's just too common a target. Do create that separate management VLAN. That's your emergency key. And look at those last 2 don'ts. Disable automatic trunking negotiation and explicitly set your port modes. This stops an attacker from tricking your switch into just handing over the keys to the kingdom. If you follow this checklist, your virtual walls will be more like a fortress. And there you have it. By getting a handle on these concepts, you've really leveled up. You're not just a user on a network anymore. You are the architect of your own secure and efficient digital space. You're the one who holds the keys. So the only question left is, what are you going to build next?